Hello and welcome to this overnight taste challenge. It's raining outside and the radars are not even showing rain. So that's okay. AccuWeather is not always so accurate. Don Q Gold, Puerto Rican rum, introduced in, it says Ron Oro, that means gold rum, introduced in Puerto Rico in 1865 by the Serrallés family. And their founder's favorite novel was Don Quixote, so that's why they call it Don Q. But really, it's Serrallés. There's a pen and ink drawing of the distillery in Puerto Rico. There's some festive scene, and then on the back, there's a big write-up about it, the family legacy, and then they're certified as one of the rums of Puerto Rico. Ponce, Puerto Rico, Ponce. And to be a rum of Puerto Rico, it has to follow certain guidelines, like it has to be aged at least 1 year. So all of the Puerto Rican rums with this insignia have to be aged in oak barrels. And it might even specify bourbon barrels. I'll have to check on that. But it has to be at least 1 year. And this one is certified kosher. Now, that's not a requirement. But so it's not a law. That's a trade association guideline, and they want to have that on their bottle as a sign of quality. Okay, all right. It's a beautiful glass. It is a big handle, but it's beautiful glass embossed. And you might find this unbelievable, but 4 years ago, I bought this for $13.99 at Dorignax Food Center. They had a super sale on it. I bought the silver, and then I was thinking, I can't wait. The gold's going to go off sale, and I'll be kicking myself for not buying it. And certainly after I went back, bought the gold, and, not long after, the price went up quite a bit. So that was a great deal, I'll have to admit. Okay, now this one, I paid the same price for this, $13.99. They got it on sale right now for $12.99. This is Winn-Dixie dark rum, imported from the Caribbean islands, and it's bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky, Buffalo Trace Distillery, for the Winn-Dixie grocery chain formed in 1955 from the merger of Winn and Dixie grocery stores. You'll notice that this one is very pale. The Winn-Dixie is poured a little bit too much. The Winn-Dixie is very pale. And this one's pale too, but it got a little more gold to it. Now, I'll show y'all the website. Now, if you read the whole history, now it says this rum is aged 1 to 5 years. A blend of rums aged 1 to 5 years. It's not an age statement because they would have to call it a 1-year-old rum. If you look at the bottle, it doesn't really have an age statement. It's just an age, again, with an age description. Now, it doesn't say it anywhere on here. They intentionally avoided that. So technically, it's a non-age stated rum, but in reality, they're telling you on the website it's aged 1 to 5 years. The oldest rum in the blend is 5 years. The youngest is 1, and then there's probably some in intermediate to that. Now, Winn-Dixie, they don't even, there's no reference to aging whatsoever. Interestingly about Don Q, it started in Puerto Rico in 1865. But if you read their legacy section about the history of the company, they didn't start selling their rum in the United States till 2006. So you'd have had to go to Puerto Rico to get it before 2006. So it's kind of a new kid on the block to the U.S. market. And I think it sells, all right around here. I don't really see it too much around. There might be 1 or 2 stores in my town that sell it. It's around New Orleans, but it's not exactly a real popular one around here. Now, you might live in New York City and it's super popular. Winn-Dixie dark rum. Yeah, it's popular because it's inexpensive. Like I say, on sale till next week, week after next. And do people buy it because it's fabulous? No, they buy it because it's cheap. You know that. I know that. The American people know that. But it's not bad. It's cheap and it's marginally good, I'd call it. Whereas some of the Winn-Dixie stuff is cheap and really weird. And arguably not. Like, for instance, their blended Canadian whiskey. I mean, that's got to be the most low-grade Canadian whiskey on the market. It's not technically bad, or even, it probably can score a C plus or a B minus if you think about it, drink on it and think on it. But a B minus is, what is that? That's no good, really, when you think about it. Like, there's so many liquors out there that are cheap also, and they're close to an A, or if they're not an A, right? So why even worry about a B minus or pay any mind to it? Let me fix this thing here. Their Scotch whiskey, Winn-Dixie blended Scotch. That is the strangest taste in Scotch. That stuff is a real mess. And then I was trying this stuff called Legacy, not a Winn-Dixie brand, Legacy Scotch, but it's bottled by the same people. And I said, it tasted identical to the Winn-Dixie. Both from Scotland, both bottled at Buffalo Trace, both handled by the same parent company. And I started to think, is this the same whiskey with two different labels? Starting to believe that. Anyway, enough of that. So Don Q is going to win, obviously. I mean, there's no way it's going to lose. So price point at time of purchase, they were the same price, $13.99. Certainly not the case now. Even still, Don Q is not an expensive product. I would check Total Wine and More. I'd probably find it's a handle like this may still be under $20, maybe. Got some nice sweetness here, bright sweetness, almost like it has lime in it, which I know it doesn't. No aroma here, just like nothing here. I can't say it has a bad smell because it has no smell. It's just vacant of aroma. So it's got to be the Winn-Dixie because that's the way it is. It's just like almost like a neutral spirit. So Don Q, cheers to you. Rich oak, rich medium grade. I don't mean grade in quality, grade in shade. Medium level molasses. Dry finish, light bodied, wonderful. Definitely could compete with Bacardi Gold, and it will save you a little bit of money off the Bacardi Gold, probably equal to it and a little bit cheaper. So if you want to pay for the name, go ahead, because you're paying for the name. You say, I gotta have my Crown Royal. That's the best Canadian whiskey. Well, not really, but you're going to pay for that name, pay for it. I mean, you could get Rich and Rare Reserve, which probably, if you did a blind taste test, you may not be able to tell them apart. But go ahead and pay that extra $10 because you got to buy your Jack Daniels, got to pay for the name, got to buy your Johnny Walker Red Label, got to pay for the name, got to buy I don't know about Jim Beam because that's kind of a low price. It is the kind of like the flagship bourbon of America, but really Jack Daniels is the flagship bourbon of America. Marketed as a Tennessee whiskey, which it is. It's still a bourbon, straight bourbon. There's oak. I don't know why I got my eyes closed now. I know I have it right. I can tell by the shade. I can tell it's Winn-Dixie because it's lighter, but I'll look at the tag just to finish it out. Yeah. So the body's light as well. You do pick up some oak. No kind of char, though. I know they're not using charred oak. That's impossible. I can't see how they are. The aging, if it's aged a year, I'd be shocked. That's why it's so light. I mean, they put it in oak. I mean, who knows? Maybe they got a little bit of some 5-year age rum in there. Seems hard to believe at that price point, but what islands? We don't know. Could be from Hispaniola. Could be from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but I don't even know if they have a distillery down there. St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Christopher and Nevis. Could be from Aruba. I don't know. You know, we sit there and name all the islands wouldn't do much good. Okay. I think I could name every island country in the Caribbean. I couldn't name every actual island. There's thousands. You know, some are so tiny they're like islets with no population. It's like Hawaii. There's a lot of islands, but there's like what 6 or 8 main islands, and I think 1 or 2 of them is uninhabited. Like there's no people who live there. It's never been inhabited. It's a pretty big island. People visit it. I think it's really not. You're not supposed to visit it because they don't want people messing it up or something. There's some kind of restriction on that. I know there is, but people, they do it anyway. You know, can't guard it all the time. But they don't want people dumping trash and stuff on the island because you know how people are. They'll dump battery acid down the drain. Then they'll complain about the environment. Throw trash out the window. Makes me sick. All right. Well, there's even a mintiness to Don Q, and I know it has no mint in it. But I said earlier it smelled like lime. Oh man, the rain. I'm supposed to go walking in a little bit. This is not helpful. We have a lot rainier winters than summer. Our summers in Louisiana can be dry, like a drought. Like 2 years ago, last year, not 2024, but it was bad. 2024 got a lot of rain relative to most summers. But usually in Louisiana, the winter is wet, damp, rainy, cold, sometimes freezing, but not too much. The summers will be dry and hot. Dry because it would be humid, but then during the day, as the sun gets up in the sky, it'll dry out pretty good, and the humidity will drop low. You know, low for Louisiana, probably high for where you live, but it might still be and the clouds might build up, and then no rain happens. And it's like, and then you see people watering their yard, you know. But yeah, so winter is more rainy and damp than the summer. So, let's say, but Louisiana is one of the wetter states of America. I think Hawaii is the rainiest state, although parts of Hawaii are a desert, because of the rain shadow and the wind currents you see. And their water is warm because it's a warm current. But they got other Pacific islands that you'd never dream of swimming. Even though it's in the tropic zone, the water is ice cold because the current is coming from Antarctica. And you'd never swim in it unless you or crazy. Okay, anyway, or a penguin, in which case it wouldn't matter. Okay, so the clear and present winner is Don Q, as no one is surprised to hear. And that closes out, unless I overlook something, and I don't believe so, that closes out the rum taste challenges for this year. And later next year, we'll get into another one, God willing. But it could take a while to get back to it, but that's all right. We have other adventures such as tequila coming next. Yes, Winn-Dixie tequila, but that will be the last Winn-Dixie brand I tackle because I don't plan on ever buying their vodka or gin. Not that I'm opposed to them. I just don't have time to fit that in my protocol. So other people will have to handle that. And once we're finished with the Winn-Dixie tequila, which I expect is not going to do that well in competition, and no big shock. And then I'll go into mezcal, and I have a new mezcal, Tiger's Eye, which apparently is very popular south of the border, but sort of obscure in America, in the U.S. of America, because I only found like 2 English language videos on it. And there were dozens of videos, but they were all in Spanish or Eastern European languages, like Slavic languages. So, I think it's all right. It's a pretty good product. We'll get to. I did a solo review. I haven't posted it yet. It's scheduled. And then when I finish with that taste challenge for tequila, mezcal, then we're going to go back around to rye whiskey. And this will be a very exciting thing because the rye whiskey I'm bringing in is from Scotland. Yeah, when you think of Scotch whiskey, you don't think of rye whiskey, do you? I never did. But there it is at Walmart as I speak. And it's 60% rye, but it's Scotch whiskey. Can you believe it? Okay, the things people come up with these days. And then we'll go to bourbon, straight. Well, I think what I have is not straight bourbon, but it's bourbon. So, and then we're going to go back to, then we'll go to American blended whiskey, and then back to bourbon. I have to double up bourbon. I'm so backlogged on bourbon. I have to double up bourbon, American blended, then back to bourbon. Then we jump to Canadian blended and so forth. All right. And that's that. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Congratulations, Don Q, for the win. And you get an honorable mention in Winn-Dixie because even though you lost most every challenge, it wasn't a terrible experience.